Thank you, Joe.
Joe.
All right.
No, she meant that for you.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I would like to call to order the Haymarket Town Council's monthly work session for today, Monday, November 24th, 2025. Roll call, please.
Passanello,
Present.
Larson,
Here.
Gallagher, Cater,
Yes.
Baker,
Here.
Vianney.
Here.
Awesome. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So our very first item is oath of office
Right.
for Dave Capicella. Am I saying that correctly, Dave?
Yes.
Perfect.
You got it?
You just repeat after me.
Okay.
I'll go slow.
That's fair.
So you put your left hand on the
Left
Bible.
hand.
Right. Repeat after me. I solemnly swear
I solemnly swear
to support the Constitution of the United States
to support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia,
and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia,
and to faithfully and impartially
and to faithfully and impartially
discharge all the duties
discharge all the duties
incumbent upon me
incumbent upon me
as a member of the Haymarket Town Council
as a member of the Haymarket Town Council
to the best of my
to
abilities.
the best of my abilities.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
All right. Speech. No.
It's like, don't do that to me.
You go up now.
You go up. You're legit, man.
And looky there, we even got the name
Yeah.
tag on time.
Yeah. Oh,
We
look
got
at
the
that.
name tag on time.
Thank you so much. Absolutely.
You are legit.
So Kim must have been standing up there.
Look at that. Take it all in.
Kim must have been standing up there.
Yeah. All right. Very excited. This is exciting.
Trust me, he needs something to do.
Oh.
We've got a list.
This keeps him busy.
And thank you for being here. Absolutely. All right. So we are moving on to our next agenda item, which is the town manager report. Emily, please.
Good evening, council. So we're on the very second packet page. I'm going to run through a couple of things, and then I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about the recap from the meeting with the county executive on Friday. So RFP for the sidewalk, Katie McDaniel and I completed another sidewalk inspection walk with the consultant. We are still addressing a couple of the crack issues and small chips in the sidewalk. So we're coming up with a solution for that prior to the finalization of the project and the final release of all of the documents and permits. Kind of jumping ahead here, stormwater assessment grant. So we're still working very closely with JMT, which is our consultant group. We have followed up with one of the developers, civil engineers, to request a little bit more information regarding North Fayette Street site plans and getting a little bit more stormwater analysis from them for the larger Crossroads Village Center development. So we are awaiting their feedback. We're hopeful to get that in the next week or so. We will be meeting on December 16th. At that time, we'll be scheduling for when the survey team will be coming out on site to do a lot of the surveying along Fayette and Jefferson Street areas. We are still working closely. I'll jump ahead a little bit. We're still working very closely with the stormwater concerns in Robinson's Paradise. That's further down in the blue section there. We have requested from DR Horton to hold a meeting with them on site. We are still awaiting feedback on who will be joining us from DR Horton, but we reached out directly to their stormwater engineer for that. So that is still a work in progress. I am trying at a minimum, even if it is no update. I am still trying to reach out and have communication every other week with those neighbors so that they're aware we're still working on it, and it's staying present on our minds. We held a business roundtable this past Tuesday over at the hotel. It was a very successful event. I have in here, it was the 19th. It was actually the 18th. I apologize for that date. But it was very great. We had a wonderful turnout. We launched our Deck the Door contest. That'll be starting up here for all of our businesses to partake in. We also mentioned some of our other events going on. And then the meat of the meeting was I did a land use development update, very similar to the one that I did for council back at the end of the summer. So I think our businesses really appreciated hearing those updates, learning more about land use development. I got great feedback from that, so we will keep that as a regular meeting discussion topic and try to keep everyone in the loop on that. We'll also be looking to add a page of our newsletter, or at least half of a page of our newsletter, to land use development updates. So Alexandra will be helping me with coordinating that information and getting it out in our quarterly newsletter. Looking ahead, strategic plan, we'll be talking more about it in tonight's agenda, but I heard back from Dr. Stephanie Davis regarding our feedback and our priorities and how council answered the survey. So looking forward to sharing that with everyone this evening. And some other bigger items. We're still working in the website redesign process. So we've submitted our template that we would like to see the website designed as. We looked at several different examples, figured out what looked the most user-friendly and informative and a very easy process to follow, not 10 clicks before you get to what you're looking for. So we submitted that template. We are working with them to update some of the colors and change it a little bit from what we have today. We are looking to steer away from that mustard gold color on our website. That leaves us with a red and green. We are going to probably drop the green so it's not overly holiday Christmas oriented in colors. So we're working on that. We have a follow-up meeting with Ralph, our IT consultant, next week, so we can go over where we stand on the .gov, going to cloud services and other items that we had discussed in detail with Ralph. And then we have kind of our biggest thing. We've gotten a lot of feedback on our RFP for the park, so it's very exciting. Last week I held 2 meetings with 2 different companies that are very interested in putting in for the park. I've received today 2 additional outreaches, so it is getting good traction. Very excited about that and looking forward to sharing more with council as that occurs. And then land use development is keeping us busy. So the major highlights here, we have received the full rezoning package for the QBE site. They are going to be calling it Schoolhouse Commons. So that is going to be the name of it that you'll hear when I reference it. I will be bringing that to the town council on December 1st to refer the application, so to refer the rezoning application to the Planning Commission. It is not a public hearing on December 1st. It is not for great discussion. It is the act of referring the rezoning application down to the Planning Commission. Following the referral, the Planning Commission will meet and they will set a public hearing date. So our next meeting with Planning Commission is going to be on December 9th. And so at that December 9th meeting, they will set their public hearing date. Other projects that are going on, kind of newer projects, we have received a second preliminary site plan for the proposed hotel behind CVS. So we had previously approved a preliminary site plan for that hotel. They've made some modifications to that and they've resubmitted a preliminary plan. They've also submitted for a retail pad site to go to the right of that hotel. It would be located directly in front of Kitty Academy as you look at it from Washington Street. Those are 2 of the bigger projects we're working on. We're still working on Chick-fil-A's second drive-through with their site plan, finalizing the comments there. And then we have 2 single-family homes on what I would call South Fayette Street. So it's south of Washington Street, down in the curve. 2 additional single-family homes that are being proposed down there. Otherwise, just a couple general administrative updates. So our upcoming holiday event is on December 13th from 2 to 6. Julia will be looking for volunteers the week of that event as well as at the event. So please let us know how you can help out and when you're able to do so. We also will be having a pretty busy December 1st meeting. We'll be recognizing our parade award winners at that meeting and some other odds and ends. So a lot of fun things happening that night. And then we'll be working on our upcoming newsletter to go out in January. So if you have anything you would like to see in it, please reach out to Alexandra. She'll be working on that this coming month. And otherwise, we're in decoration mode. Matt is determined to get our tree up tomorrow before the Thanksgiving holiday. So we're very excited about that. If you're around tomorrow and you want to help out for a little bit, come visit us. We'll be here working outside. Are there any questions from council? Oh, I'm sorry. The most important thing, I went right past it. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so Friday on the 21st, I went down to the county, met with the CXO, and one other town manager was there this past Friday. So again, department heads came in. Our agenda was kind of going back through a couple announcements that the MOU for the Mike Pennington Scenario-Based Training Center, everything went through. Chief worked with them. The MOU has been updated and signed, so we now are able to use it free of charge. So that was a very great thing to finally happen. We were also made aware of our new Gainesville District Supervisor. So Mr. Stewart is officially sworn in and in the seat. So Chief and I actually reached out today to try to schedule a meeting so that we can go ahead and do our official meet and greet and have some conversations with him. So we're looking forward to that early December. Big topic that we spend a lot of time on is the SNAP and WIC federal impacts and how that's impacting the county and what that looks like for the county. And then other things that we discussed and covered. So permitting process, I've been requesting a meeting with the permitting department down there to go over how our applications are processed here for zoning, and then how to make a very seamless transition over to the building department, not only for the resident or citizen who is doing it, but also for our office staff to their office staff, so we can cut out some of the confusion that's occurring. So I'll be following up. They have a new point of contact who's taking over that department. So I'll be looping in with them. Wade Hugh has been assisting us in the conversation. So it's one of the people that reports to him. So we'll be working with Mr. O'Connor, and he's very familiar with us. He's helped us through the building permitting process since 2018. I've had a very good working relationship with him. So looking forward to that discussion. They also shared with us that their noise ordinance was updated and amended. It is going to be in full effect in May, and this is in regards to the data center noise. And so that'll start in May when citizens can be reporting it. They'll be able to come out and do better measurements of that noise. And so for all of our citizens who do want to report something, they would call the non-emergency phone number. That might be important as we start fielding calls from right down the road outside of town for those new data centers that are going to come online very soon. We also discussed in detail Prince William County's legislative agenda. I have copies of all that here. I'm happy to share it with anyone from council. I can make a copy if you're interested in learning more. And then lastly, we talked about the schedule for the upcoming budget season for the county. They'll really be starting to release public information in February. So at our next CXO meeting, we'll be hearing all about the budget and what they are proposing. And then lastly, we talked about some federal impacts that the county is feeling and that we may also feel when it comes to HR1, but mainly transportation when it comes to the town of Haymarket, and what assistance and grant funding the county had previously received and how that might change coming up, and how much assistance the town could expect. So great conversations all around. Is there any follow-up questions? Yes.
With the mile review and the property that I think is being looked at the corner of Somerset and 15, kind of.
Down here on this
Yeah,
end,
did you
behind the
talk to that with the
conservation.
CXO to find out, since it is going to be not special use, but at least affordable housing mark off for Prince William County, and how they plan on, catering to it with bus routes and everything else.
We did not have time to cover that project specifically, but what I have asked is with the Gainesville Supervisor's Office, if I could touch base with Rebecca as well as the supervisor on that rezoning project right off of 15 that I emailed out to all of Council and Planning Commission, as well as this one right here on Heathcote and Old Carolina in the county, and get status updates, impacts, and go through that conversation with them.
I think that property, though, is part of Brentsville.
That one is part of Brentsville, but they were very much involved in it on how close it was touching to the town and to their district. So we will, as needed, loop in Mr. Gordy into those conversations. Yeah. And if I could, real quick, council, if you have any comments on that application, please send them to me. We'll be discussing it December 9th at the Planning Commission meeting. Comments are due back to the county December 29th. So I would like to have those fully developed. If I need to ask follow-up questions to the county or to council, have conversations, I'd like to do that as soon as we can. So if you have any feedback, please share it maybe next week when you have some downtime.
So in that line, how many units are they talking about in their preliminary plan to construct over there?
I will need to follow up with you on that. I don't know the number off the top of my head.
It's a little bit different than the initial one that we saw last year, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And is it single family?
No.
Okay.
No,
So-
I'll follow up with you. I'll look at it, and I can give feedback on, I want to say a portion of it was townhouse and a portion of it was apartment or condo style. It is a larger number of units. They did take out the 4 acres that sit within the town of Haymarket. That has been removed. That's not part of the application request.
So this is not the High Point proposal?
No, sir.
This is totally different.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'd love to see what that.
And this one's name is Lumina, Lumina.
Lumina.
And it also, just for a point of information, includes 2 other properties that weren't
Mhm.
being considered for High Point.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
So I do have a couple follow-up questions. Can we just talk a little bit about Comcast and Verizon? And is there a timeline associated with that franchise agreement?
So
As
we
much as
need to talk more. I've had a hard time getting a hold of Verizon, so I'll keep trying with them, seeing if I can get their franchise point of contact to get back with us. So I'll follow up with that. Let me circle back with you on December 1st at our next meeting. Is that
That's fine.
work?
I'm
Okay.
just curious about Comcast. Is it because the existing agreement expires? So
Mhm.
this
It
is a renewal?
expires. Yes.
And do we know when?
I'll pull the date for you.
Okay, because I'm curious about the timeline on that,
Mhm.
when we would have to settle something with them. And with respect to the potential hotel, any thoughts or any ideas in that preliminary report, what it might look like? How big?
6
What's included?
stories. So the preliminary plan currently has it at 6 stories. That was previously granted by SUP under the town council sitting in 2018 is when that SUP was approved.
Right.
It does not have an expiration date on it, and so that continues with the land there. They're also proposing it'll have a swimming pool, small conference room. It will not have a restaurant, and then just other typical front of house hotel amenities downstairs.
So given that that has been approved, and it's been approved for what, 7 years now, and there's no expiration date, what kind of studies are they going to have to do in order to go forward with that? Will they have to do a transportation study or anything?
No, so what they'll have to meet all the requirements of our site plan, and that's how it's restricted through the zoning ordinance. It's just meeting the site plan requirements.
So they'll have to meet whatever the restrictions are originally in the site plan that's in existence now, and it may take an update, may require an update perhaps of the site plan? Or
They don't
not?
have a currently approved site plan.
All right. I mean, the property itself hasn't.
So this section of the property is all the way back behind CVS. So the only thing in that original site plan of the 22 acres that was planned for over in that westmost portion of the parcel is the Crossroads Village Boulevard, the spine road that goes all the way over there. And so that is fully developed and shown in the existing approved site plan for the entirety of the property. And then the curbing and some of the gutter work that goes along with it. This specific parcel sits right off of that road, and it has not at all been developed with a site plan. There's no approval of a site plan. So they're starting that whole site plan process from scratch. What they're going off of is that special use permit that gave them the 6 feet, I'm sorry, not 6 feet, 6 stories of a hotel.
And that's what you think they're going to go with this?
Yes, that's what has been presented and submitted.
Okay.
Yep.
And when do we think that'll be coming to the PC?
It will be several months out. It probably won't come to PC until at least spring. So the way we function administratively is you can do a preliminary site plan. And so they've submitted that preliminary site plan that usually sticks with the staff and the engineer while we work through first and second round submissions of comments, updates to the plan. And then around month 4 or so, when they have put in a second or even sometimes a third submission of that preliminary plan, then we're bringing it to the planning commission saying, we've taken care of a majority of all of the issues on the plan. It now is closer in conformance with our zoning ordinance. We're ready for you to look at it. So it'll be springtime.
It'll be springtime.
Yeah.
Okay.
We just got it in beginning of this month. So very recent resubmission.
Is the topography of that land slightly lower than the other parts of that development?
Originally, it was discussed that it would be, but I'll have to look at how they're proposing to grade it and if they're proposing to bring the grade up to be even with everything else and then build on top of that. And I do believe that's what they're proposing.
That's what
And, that's why, well, that's not why, but part of the reason why I asked the question about what other studies are they required to do.
Mhm.
Because initially, I know they did a TIA for that whole property approval for the rezoning.
Yes.
And so it was taken into consideration the 6th floor when they did their TIA?
It's been over 6 years,
Okay,
Joe.
all right.
I'll have to think back, but I do believe in our original discussions of that rezoning, they took into consideration a hotel there. I don't know if it was the full 6 stories.
Okay.
And they also had a conversation with the sitting council and planning commission about it possibly being assisted living facility. Those were the 2 options at the time. I can pull the TIA, we have it. It'll be, of course, outdated information, but I can at least pull what they referenced.
It may need to be updated for all we know, but you can see where I'm going here because of what the traffic is like on the west end of town. And so that's a concern that I might have with that.
Anyone else?
I'm just learning.
It's all been.
Thank
All
you.
right. Yes, thank you very much. Are we ready to move on? So Keith,
Welcome, Councilman David Capicello. It's good to see you all. Hope everybody's doing great. Been a busy month, obviously. If you want to start looking at the report as we'll move from top to bottom on the calls for service, nothing remarkable at that point. We're still staying in our current trend, and you can see that in the dispatch call for service, direct contact calls for service, and combined calls for service 4-year trends. If Councilman Banyai would take a look and notice that I color coded it per his request, so they're easy, a little bit easier to follow. Business checks and foot patrols remain pretty static. We're still able to provide a good preventive patrol and services to our business side as well as our residents. Officer initiated calls for service again have remained static. Our average response time dropped or went up just a little bit, but not too much this month. We're still providing a good service time, good service response time. The 3-year trend that you can see on traffic related to traffic stops remains consistent and unremarkable. Traffic violations, again, very static, and you can see by the monthly report and then the year to date that we're trending pretty static on all of them. There's nothing remarkable in those. We'll note that I did update the next page, which is with the DMV grant. Like I told you, there was going to be an anomaly in some of the hours worked. We actually did 99 hours in the fourth quarter and 6 community collaboration for a total of 105. And then the total fourth quarter reimbursement request was in the amount of $6,458, which at the end of our grant would have left $537 out of the 28,173. And then you can look at the comparable summons data to summonses written off duty and then or on regular duty, and then summonses written during the DMV grant. You can see that arrest or nominal, obviously 0 was a good one, but we did add one from last month that needed to be noted. That was not noted on last month's report. Hours on calls for service, again, very static and comparable to the calls that we're actually receiving. Out-of-town activity went down, and I did start just tracking our backup requests to go outside of the town and assist Prince William County on that. Continue to track them coming in and helping us, and then agency hours on responding to calls is very static as well. Now, a little something different when you look into the monthly traffic volume, you'll notice that our pace was off about 20,000 cars on our eastbound side, which I would attribute to probably the federal shutdown would be my guess. So again, not really remarkable. As you can see, if you go back to July, that we were in the same area, but the trending data would show that there was a downturn in the amount of eastbound traffic. And then the breakdowns as you go down the page. If you look at the October and November eastbound speed data and the amount of cars, I did go ahead and break that down into percentages, which I did not note on there, but I'll give to you now. At the 26 to 30 mark, there was 21.7% of the cars. At 31 to 35 is 6.9. At 36 to 40 is 1.06% of the total cars. And then 41 plus is 0.1% of the total volume of cars. And then you can look at the trending speed data for each of those. And of course, you will see the downturn on the November tracking data point. And that is, again, because we were down in volume of cars as well. That would be my assumption. Looking at westbound, you can see there wasn't as big of a downturn, only a couple of thousand cars on the month from our normal trending data. And then if you go down to the October, November westbound speed data, in the 26 to 30 mile an hour bracket, 20.4%, and the 31 to 35 mile an hour mile per hour speed is 5.4%. And then at the 36 to 40 is 1.33. And then at 41 plus is 0.34%. And then as you look at the speed trending data throughout the year, you'll notice that it remained relatively static, very unremarkable. Moving into our current projects, as you know, the Bilepsy team was in town last week for our initial assessment. They arrived on Sunday, the 16th, and then began their assessment at 8:30 a.m. on the 17th with a static display that was held at the fire department here on the east side of town. And then we moved back for a tour of facility at that point. Sergeant Finley and Officer Galbraith took part in the static display. And then I took care of the departmental tour. Lieutenant Davis took care of the evidence room inspection, and then Sergeant Finley did the ride-along portion that day. They remained and continued to check folders throughout the day, and then that evening was provided dinner at the Hilton Garden Inn, and with the town manager and the mayor and accompanying with us. Had a very good time with them, speaking with them for 3 hours that evening. Everything went really well. They came back in on Tuesday and actually enjoyed the town a little bit that morning, taking some pictures of all the nutcrackers around and selfies, and had a really good time. And it was a good at the end of the day. They're usually scheduled for 3 days, but they said that the folders were in exceptional shape and that they were able to finish early, and that's why they decided to spend some time in town. So we did our exit interview that evening. Everything went well. And then, of course, our next step will be to present to the Bilepsy board on December the 4th in Charlottesville. And that will be our final. And it'll be official. Following up on last month's report on the drug take back, it was just over 200 pounds of narcotics were turned back in for destruction. We're continuing our plans for the senior summit. The reimbursement request that we sent in for the HEAT grant has been received by Roberto. And then we took part in the trunk or treat here at True Val Brewing. We also took part in the Halloween candy handout, as we normally do, with several locations and many children served. Lots of cavities to feed our local dentist. I'm sure we'll be in good shape. Officer Culberson and Lieutenant Davis attended the Prince William County's trunk or treat. Had a good time. Several thousand children attended that. It was well received. And then we took part in the actual Fair on the Square, the first Fair on the Square held at the courthouse, and used that opportunity not just to educate those in attendance about the town of Haymarket and the police department, but to provide them with DMV and traffic safety brochures. There were several hundred in attendance, and we feel pretty sure that we made about 200 contacts and gave out about 300 brochures that day. So good deal on that. And of course, some of those hours are going to be community collaboration with the DMV grant. DMV reimbursement was sent, and I did transpose 2 of the numbers there. It was $6,458. We did file our annual officer population report with Virginia State Police. Did correspond with VDOT about the upcoming Christmas event in town and received the confirmed LUP today. So we're in good shape for that. I do got to proofread it, make sure that it's good. And then we also completed our annual Virginia State Crime Commission survey on the use of ALPRs. And then obviously the town manager made a noteworthy item that I failed to put on there, that we did sign into our agreement with the Mike Pennington Scenario-Based Training Center with Prince William County. We can use that now free of charge. And then if you look at upcoming events, we're doing our Operation Santa Claus on December the 6th. We got our Haymarket Christmas event here on the 13th. We will take part in the DMV's initiatives for impaired driving and drive sober or get pulled over. We're currently involved in the annual Click It or Ticket for November, which has been started 2 days ago, and we'll continue with that. And then I think that's about it.
Let's start with the most important thing.
The candy handout. No, I'm just kidding.
Operation Santa Claus.
Yes.
Can you speak just a little bit about that and the time you'll be out doing that?
Yes, we're going to start around 5 o'clock that evening, and we'll put out on our Facebook page where our stops will be, and we're going to give families an opportunity to come out and take pictures with Santa. Santa will be here in town. You know, you got to take care of that, and then we'll also give out gifts to the local youth during each of the stops. I think we do about 21 or 22 stops in town, so there's plenty of chances to take pictures. I know the mayor has ridden along with us, and so is the vice mayor. I know he's not here tonight, and had a really great time doing that. So we'll do that until we're done. Depends on how many kids are each stop and how we can move along, but usually 3 hours, and we can get the whole town done and serve the community very well.
Super. Starting at 5 o'clock. I sent a text to my HOA
Okay, great.
So they would be aware.
Great.
But perhaps we might have a little tracking of where Santa might be, and we could do a little texting to people and
Mhm.
on our app and let them know. I'm just kidding.
We do keep up our points on Facebook. We let everybody know when we're heading to the next location, so they're not standing outside if it's freezing cold, or they're not standing outside on the sidewalk for an hour or two waiting on us. So we do try to keep that updated and make sure that everybody knows what stop we're on.
Excellent. And I said that if they didn't make it on December 6th, you still had the
The
13th,
13th,
right? With Mrs. Claus, right?
Mrs. Claus to be here with Mr. Claus. That's always a good thing. That's always a good
Keeping an
thing.
eye on Santa.
That's right. That's right.
So I do have a couple questions though
Sure.
about the certification, which I think is outstanding.
Mhm.
This is something we've been wanting to do for a long time, and it's within our reach here. And
It
it
is.
sounds like it went extremely well.
Yeah, the
so
words
far.
exceptional were used many times.
Okay.
Not just with the folders, but with the department and the teamwork that they seen, with the static display and everything that was done over those 2 days. And that is the first time, and I've been through that process where they left before the third day, or finished on the second day. So that was a good thing. And of course, like I said, they actually took the time off that morning to visit the town a little bit, which was a very good thing. They love the mayor, they love the town manager, and they embrace the town. And
What's not to love?
and yeah, what's not to love? What's not to love? And good group of assessors, very easy to work with, and did a great job as far as I'm concerned. And we feel that we provided them with the necessary adequacies to make sure that everything was good.
That's super. So when you get down to Charlottesville, what's the expectation? Do you have to do another presentation, or you're just there for
Well,
the?
it's almost held like a board of inquiry. So the board, we go in front, and the chief assessor will provide the report, which I've already seen. And it's a very good report, about 3 pages worth of their activities through those 2 days. And then the board gets to fire at me, any questions they want, any
So you have
concerns
to
they have.
defend the thesis.
I have to
basically.
defend the thesis,
Yes.
basically. Exactly right. Well put. And then after they ask all their questions and they're answered, then one of the members will make a motion to confirm or deny, and then it's voted on.
Super.
Yep,
That's
it
great.
is. It is.
So can anybody drive down there if they wanted? No one.
They can. I am going to take 5 of the guys, because especially a lot of people put a lot of time into this.
They sure did.
And it's a moment in time that's the first one had here in Haymarket, obviously. And it's part of showing not just the process is a good process to go through and to maintain, but it gives them the buy-in that they actually see what they took part in, and they get to be part of that process. Now, of course, they get to set up at the main table with me, but they don't have to answer any questions. Lucky them. So
Well, that's why you get the big bucks.
that's right. That's right. So no, we're expecting everything to go well. Obviously, it's not confirmed until then, but the report was really good, and I think things went really well.
And so for everybody's edification, how long is that certification good for?
4 years, but you have to maintain it yearly. You have time sensitive standards that you have to keep track of. I could say at the end of my term, which is 1 year, say I haven't proofed a folder, but it has to do with restraints. I can go back and pull a report or pull body cam footage and proof that report, but I can't go back and do an inspection. So we have to keep up with the time sensitive standards, which there's inspections of personnel, there's inspections of the office, there's financial inspections, there's evidence room inspections. And so all that has to be kept up with. And then each year, Vallepsi will just fire you a bullet, a folder, and say, proof it right now. That term's over. We want the proof right now.
Okay.
And so you have to fire it back, respond to it quickly
Right.
with your proof and your policy to make sure that everything's good.
Yeah. Sounds
So
like a pretty.
Make sure
intense-
they make sure you stay on your toes.
Yep.
So you can't just let it languish.
Good.
I think the chief assessor said, it takes a heartbeat to be assessed, but it takes a dedicated heart to stay accredited.
Right.
So I might not be his exact words, but it was well received. So we will.
Yeah.
We will.
Super. I think that's great. And,
Mm-hmm.
kudos to everybody. I mean, we'll keep the champagne on ice
Yes, do that,
So-
do that. Be cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
Right? And I have to throw out that, you know, the town manager and Joya did a great job along with the mayor attending the dinner. Their efforts are not to be looked over, and helping us with this and getting us through it. So great
Okay.
job on their part.
Well, in line with that, I just wanted to make a comment about, we talk about community outreach and community policing, and, this is in line with that, what you're doing.
Mhm.
But reading the report, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on here, and I just want to applaud everybody for what they've been doing and doing that outreach, and the community gets to know them a lot better. And that's really important for the relationship between the town.
We've been stretched really thin, but
Yeah.
we've been managing and getting our jobs done. So yeah, but everybody was taking their part and doing their job, and here we are.
Super.
And those stickers are in the making,
All right.
Councilman Lawrence.
Well, thank
I think it was 2 foot by 2 foot. What?
Car, man.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for.
Thank you.
Anybody have anything else?
Thank you.
So Chief, I noticed that when it comes to dispatch calls for service, almost for every single month in 2025, we are basically trending higher than 2022, 2023, 2024.
Yes, sir.
Okay, is there any specific things that, the increase can be attributed to? Is it because of the growth of the town or?
I would, and of course, I'm just giving you my opinion. There's no raw data to support any one specific thing, but yes, the growth will do that for sure. Obviously with the opening of Crossroads, which was big. It's not just residential, it's business as well. That you can attribute that to being a part of it. But overall, you want your officers to be proactive and make sure they're being proactive and keeping track of everything that's going on and handling their calls for service and handling the traffic. And they're doing a really great job at that. And I mean, yes, but we can't dictate that. We do everything we can preventatively, but we can't dictate where we're going to go in. And you see that one anomaly in January that we had where we were really, really busy. But we're able to maintain, we've been maintaining. And I think the only reason really for that is the growth in the community. And we'll just continue to do what we're doing.
Are there any trends that are concerning you or that should concern us in general?
I will say no to that.
Okay.
I think that we are doing an excellent job on our calls for service, on preventative patrol, and community collaboration, making sure that we're out there and engaged in the community. And you can see in this report that, it was a big community month for us. But each months are different. May's not going to be like that, but October, December is. And we've been able to maintain and keep track of all that. I am, always looking at what's next and worrying about what's next. And of course, the only thing I know is I listened to the report that the town manager gave about land use. And so those are the things that I'm looking at on the future is what projects you all decide is going to go forth and then how they will affect the town positively and negatively, right? There's always two sides to every bit of it. I'm not concerned about where we're at currently, one bit. I think we're in good shape. But with the amount of projects that's on the horizon and what may or may not be approved or what may or may not be done and how much population that brings into the community or business traffic, it can affect us and affect our response times, affect our calls for service. Not to mention, if you look around us, obviously we have the two projects, or what's really one big project over here off of Heathcote, which will have some effect on us, whether it's traffic or just bringing more people into the area. I don't know, but we'll watch that engage. But quite frankly, I think that council has given us the tools to do what we needed to do, and we're doing it. And I'm not concerned about one thing that's going on right now.
Okay.
As far as criminal activity.
Criminal activity. Okay.
Okay.
Understood. All right. Thanks.
Yes, sir.
I just want to commend you on your response time. Thank you.
Okay.
Really great. Also, thank you for putting percentages in for the speed data. It's nice to be able to see that. Sometimes those numbers seem a little scary. Translating it to percentages is a little calmer.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. And I will start including the percentages so you can have a little bit better look, or get a better feel. I will add in one thing that I did off the record, but is to reach out to a town that's our size, not too far away, and ask about their traffic data, you know? Now, they don't see the volume that we do, and I'll just leave it at that. But I ask, you know, what's busy for you guys? You know, give me the 41 plus over. And in their area, in the 41 plus, one officer's writing over 200 tickets a month. So when you compare that to our data, that we have 182 total in one direction that would meet that criteria. Total, not just one officer, what every officer would see on a day if they were sitting there knowing that car was coming at that mile per hour. So I think if you do a comparison there, I think we're doing pretty darn good.
I appreciate
But we still want to do better. And I think that Councilman Banier's idea of having the car out there and having that deterrent is a great idea. And we've been following through with that. So.
Anyone? Ken?
Just one comment, not Haymarket related, but I've been seeing a greater presence of Prince William County in here. Thumbs up, give your counterpart a thumbs up.
Okay, I'll let you know. I'll let you know him now. Yep, they actually got one the other night before we could get to it, a disabled vehicle. So they've been showing up. So I will let him know.
Anybody have anything else? No? Thank you, Chief.
I'll let you know when I come back on the 4th.
Anxiously awaiting.
The text from Charlotte.
Yeah, I was going to say, I want a text. All right, so we are now going to move on to our agenda items. Roberto, the financial report, please. I love it. I love it.
It's been a while. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Hope everyone's great. Nice to have you, Mr. Capicella. Just a few little updates. As far as the budget, the actuals currently, overall, the town is doing well. We're meeting expectations on some line items on revenues. We're, underspending on some other items. Overall, the budget's in the black. Today, by next week, you'll see that we'll be looking more at the 45% of our revenue, which will be revenue-wise, will be a little bit ahead because we're about 2-3 months behind on some of the revenue collections. So it's a positive thing. Unless there's any specific questions on the budget, there are a few updates I wanted to give to council.
So I feel like you can give your updates, and if we have questions, we'll ask.
Okay,
good?
great. So one of the updates is, council, if you were made aware, I've been working on an investment policy, and now we're on the stages of with the finance liaisons and the town manager, kind of going over those, that policy and draft form still. Just to say, once again, thank you to Councilman Pasanel and Bayena for taking the time. We actually had one of our finance meetings dedicated to that conversation. I felt was very positive, and I think the goal of having it presented to the rest of council in January and having Olan work on it before that is attainable. And I think it was really good conversations. The policy is always going to be following what the town does. It's very conservative stance when it comes to financials, but yet it's just having it, documented. Not for this council necessarily, because it's been fiscally responsible for future. If any changes of the guard, there's always going to be a policy that as a town treasurer, I can go by and fall back on as a do's and don'ts. The other thing is I wanted to, in this conversation, Councilman Bayena had a question about how our funds are being insured. Obviously, we all know that the FDIC insures up to $250,000. I made him aware, and I think I sent the email to explain the definition, but we are part of the Security for Public Deposits Act. The past year, as a lot of the treasurers in my treasurers conference, one of the biggest things that we've all been talking is treasurers, county to towns to cities, is this system, using the system. What this essentially does is how municipalities are able to cover their funds, fully covered. In order to have these banks have to meet a certain criteria, they have to meet certain requirements, certain amount of collateral that they have to put up as well. This is meant for the Virginia Treasury, who oversees it, to make sure that town funds are always being insured, fully insured, so there's no ability to lose the funds. This being on the accounts that are being held, MIA, SADARs, or just checking accounts. So that's something that this past week, I actually did my quarterly. It's a quarterly process. I went ahead and did that. So we're good to go, Alexander, on that. Everything came back positive. I am working with the finance liaison, Councilman Pasanello. I did make finance aware, but Councilman Pasanello, I did have to do it some cleanup, as we had to get some of the signers to get correct. The mayor, the old mayor used to be still as a signer as the old mayor, but the banks need to recognize that he's not the mayor anymore, he's a council member. We did an update. I'm also getting ready to initiate a new separate account for the CIP. I know that I had discussed this with you, with council as a whole, but with finance, we talked about it and I got the green light to go ahead. The money will still be accessible. It's just that I want to start separating that account directly to adhere with the CIP, just to have it a little bit more separation and a cleaner look at it. I am working on the budget. I will be coming or asking a time with every individual council member to sit down and kind of see from the strategic planning, once that's finalized, how and what they want to see in this next coming budget. I kind of have an idea of some of the stuff from being in that meeting, but obviously I do want to have some input. So when we do have that first draft, initial draft, is no one's getting caught off guard as what it's going to be on there. I know there's some items that I do not have answers for yet, but come February, March, I'm hoping to have them for you. That be the insurance policy, the insurance liability, the Versa retirement funds. Every 2 years, we get a percentage. This just happens to be the last year of this certain percentage we had the last 2 years. So that's going to change. Though we are small, we don't get hit as hard, but it does fluctuate. So that is something that I will be talking to you guys about as soon as I get the information. I think January is when they'll send me out the rates. So once that happens, I'll share that with y'all. And lastly, our FY 2024 is complete. It is good to go. It was a positive. I know finance liaison, Councilman Pasanel got to see a draft of it. Nothing changed. Joe, everything was pretty static. I'm hoping to get Michael, our auditor, to be here on January 1st, free of charge, via Zoom, to present. I got a challenge about a $500 cost. So I think I beat it with free. So he will present. I'm hoping to have him present to council, and you guys feel free to have those questions. I will be handing over on Monday's meetings the actual financial reports, the finals, in the nice binding they send. So you guys will have that on your desk when you come in on Monday. As always, if you guys want to talk about it, I'm always here in the office too, or via email. And with that being said, another thing too about the investment policy, if that is adopted, another good thing too is that will be something else that will be added to my audit that the auditors will want to look at as well, to make sure that when I am making these investments, I am following the policy. So that is something that, I think will be a great thing for the town. It should be done too, just to kind of safeguard, not just myself as a treasurer, but also the town as a whole, and just the transparency of it. So I don't know, lots of updates, but if you have any questions on any of them, here to answer.
Well, I want to suggest maybe talk a little bit about the presentation we got from VML Vaco. Did you want to?
So
I anticipate when you might be bringing it forward.
I just gotta wait back on see where we feel on the revisions, if the revisions they made answered the questions we had. So maybe we can connect on that. I mean, finance liaison and TM. I know I had sent you the copy that they had sent. But yes, the goal is that once we feel that the report answers concerns and questions that council may have as a whole as a town, they will come in to present. I'm hoping to line it up in January, just because I know it's a lot of numbers, but come December 27th, we'll have that 1.3 that I had closed in the SADAR open back. There's no rush, assuming that'll take some time, and I don't want to make a rush decision. I have requested it when we set that up, it automatically goes to our fully secured MMA or money market, ICS money market. So it gives council an opportunity to kind of gauge where it's at, see where it's at. If I have any luck on finding another good rate too, and maybe I could bring it to the board, see if you guys would have an appetite to invest some of those funds as well. But yes, we have talked to them. Just going to give them some final feedback. Hopefully get some from the finance liaisons on their thoughts on that revision. I know the TM and I are pretty good with it, but we just want to make sure some concerns that were brought up were answered. So when they present, it's a full-on conversation for everyone here.
So I thought it was a pretty robust analysis of our ability to borrow money to do the site plan, the exterior, and maybe some other work. And, they came up with 3 options, and, we'll go through that and they'll do the presentation, I gather.
Yeah.
And then we'll have our opportunity to ask questions of the folks that did the analysis, and then we'll discuss, what we think is the right direction to go in as a council.
Correct. And one thing you reminded me, Joe, sorry. So if you guys remember in the strategic planning, it was kind of like a snapshot. I didn't go into details. It was a quick snapshot on what they recommended and what I would recommend. The recommendation, follow the recommendation, which is 50%, 50 cash, 50 loan. And per that conversation, because they had stated for a loan that size, and to some of the concerns on finance liaison side about trying to, instead of front loading our initial payment back to the loan, kind of put it in the middle of a fiscal year. So say like December, and then the next one in May, when our funds are there, revenues are streams is there. They said that most likely a bank for a size of that loan would be a good thing to do. So I preemptively kind of trying to work ahead, because it will take some work. We'll have a conversation with our local bank to see, kind of trying to feel them out, see if it's something they'll be interested in. Obviously, though they are a local bank, I do want to have as many options as possible, but I want to give them first opportunity, see what they can do for the town. If, say, we come with this percentage, and meaning more like what kind of rate we could get or how it would work with them. But obviously something like this, we would probably, I believe we had discussed about having Steve kind of assist us, walk us through, assist us with that process with the loan. But I figure why not, since they're up the street, why not just talk to them now, kind of try to engage them now and see where they're at with it. So, yeah.
Roberto, will that meeting be in person, the investment meeting?
The investment meeting with Steve at Mora and David?
Or is that Velco?
The investment
presentation.
analysis, the presentation, yes, they will be here in person, kind of like last time. They'll come here, have a PDF presentation, and you'll have the ability to ask them questions there. I will ask if they can send the PDF, the final. If it's the final that we have, I will submit it to you guys, so you guys have it ahead of time. Prepare you guys to have any questions, concerns, or want to, talk about it. So, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
So that means Alexander and I have homework we have to report
Yes.
back.
Yes, I just sent you some homework while we were in this meeting too, so. So yeah.
Was there anybody else?
No, I just wanted to, a friendly reminder that when we're looking at the information, that it's normal to have a slight lag in a couple of those line items. So there's nothing bad. It's just normal.
Yeah, it's pretty standard. I think I'm trying to be very, I know that sometimes I get residents that they don't, financials are not their thing, but I try to explain in a way where it's a little bit more simpler, I sometimes practice it with my kid, but it doesn't work all the time, but yeah. Yeah, so it's very ahead of time. But again, if there's someone that has a question, I'm always here to, sit down and talk to them, for sure.
All right. Thank you very much.
Mhm. All right.
Oh, you might as well stay then.
Yeah. So the resolution 2025-012, please.
Yes. Okay. Good evening, council again, and mayor. Yeah, so this amendment resolution is due to the fact that our park sidewalk, even though we tried our best, our engineer and our contractors, certain items just weren't able to get completed before the June 30th date. So in FY 2025, the unused funds in 2025 for this project was 149,000. This 8,000 is actually some of it that I'm just requesting to reallocate to this budget. It was originally intended in FY 2024. And this is for the engineering, the final portions. I believe our town manager can confirm has to do with the plat as-built, the finalization of as-built. Unfortunately, because the work is being done during the new fiscal year, I do have to address it in this fiscal year. So it's just a request. It's under the 1%. But I do want to, for full transparency, have council discuss it and adopt it on Monday. If that's possible, yeah. I don't know if there's a question on this one.
Yeah, I think that's pretty straightforward, and there really is a nothing burger. But what I was going to ask is, if possible, can we have a full accounting of the project itself, what we budgeted versus what we spent total? So we know exactly what's going to go back into the reserve.
Yeah, I can definitely do that for you.
Okay.
Yeah, have that.
Super.
We're just moving the funds from the 5001 to 97001-1. Is that correct?
Yeah, so basically, I had budgeted the amounts in the last budget, right? But we haven't used, I don't move it over until it's actually needed and used, ready to be paid out. So yeah, basically it's funds that I budgeted for in 2025, but never used it. So it was never moved over. So yes, we're just moving the monies from ARPA into the payment for the project. Yep.
Anyone else? No? Okay.
Okay. Question, is that breakdown, do you want it on Monday's report or?
I mean, if you could just speak to it.
Okay, I'll try to see if I can, if not, I'll do a handout and we can speak on it that day too. Would that work with you?
Sounds
Okay.
fine.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So next on the agenda is our strategic planning survey results. Emily?
Yes, we are on packet page 30. So I hope everyone had a chance to look this over and review it, but these are our survey results for the strategic planning session that we had with Stephanie back on November 1st. So the first section that you'll see the breakdown of how everything ranked is just the elected officials survey results. So those are broken down by the goals, and then within each goal, you can see the clear notation of what is taking priority within the goal. If you flip ahead to packet page 33, you will see that this is the section that starts laying out all of the strategies together, and then they're ranked from 1 to, I think we're up in the 30s, 1 to 34 on the priority level. So I do want to point out here that I think that this is a good top 10. I mean, this is what everybody has ranked in your individual survey that you took. I wanted to ask council if you are all amenable to it. I want to bring forward our amended strategic plan and have council readopt it at one of your meetings, ask for citizen input and feedback. And then I would like to put in there a one-pager, mainly taking this information on this first page and saying, as a council, these are our top 10 priorities. So page 33, stating, these are our top 10 priorities after we did our amended strategic plan and took a survey. This is what we came up with. I don't know how council feels. If you have any other suggestions of how you would like to share the priorities with the community, but I do think it would be important to share that feedback.
I think so. Anybody else? Justin?
I just have a real quick question. For the 1, 2, and 3, there's no way we can combine or do like a 1A, because I feel like 1 and 3 are kind of the same of security, improving safety measures.
So number 1 is directly addressing the site plan for the town hall property. And so with that comes some level of security upgrade. But number 3 was a discussion that Chief and I were holding a little bit separate of that, where we want to pull together an RFP for enhanced security measures on site. And so that would be in addition to the site plan. The site plan is ready to go for construction after we put it out for bids. I don't know that council would want to combine those. I think that they will be done as a step 1 and a step 2. So I think I would still leave them separated.
Okay.
But I do understand the intention and how it's worded.
Okay.
Thank you.
Little feedback on what you were suggesting, Emily, and I think that's prudent to reach out to the community and get feedback. And perhaps people have different opinions. So I think that would be a good thing to do before we consider adopting the plan. I do have a question about methodology on this. Maybe you can answer it, maybe you can, I don't know. Maybe it's a Stephanie question. I'm curious about where it says average for both elected officials. Can you know what that exactly means? Because I'm a little confused by that.
I think what that's actually supposed to state is this is the staff and council feedback. And so that average is the average of the elected officials and the staff feedback.
Okay.
That's
All right,
what
'cause
that
was going
is.
to be my second question. Was-
Okay.
Was staff included in the calculation, which I think kind of skews it a little bit from a council priority perspective. So is it possible just to get,
So only council is packet page 30 to 32. And then we would just have to go through and look at what the top, how that ranks within that.
could we do that?
I can ask her to do that.
Yeah. Because I would be curious to see what the difference is, if there's any difference.
A combined staff and council
Well,
versus
no, that's
just
what this is.
council. Right,
This is
right.
combined.
That's,
I'd like to
that's what
see-
you're asking.
Because
Yeah.
my perspective is these are council priorities, right? On behalf of the staff and the residences. So I'd be curious to see
Curious.
if there's any deviation from the numbers.
Give me just a second. I have one working document. It was a little bit messier, so not messy. It was more detailed.
I mean, you don't have to do it.
It
you
was a
don't have
lot
do
to
it now.
digest, but let me
Yeah.
see if it's already in there. And if it is, I can read you off what council weighted them.
So when do you, I mean, while you're doing that, when do you think we will reach out to the community and try to gain feedback from them as to the priorities? Is that something we would do in December or you
I would
think
hope we
January?
would do that in December with a plan to do a renewal adoption in January. And that way it could run with that.
Anybody else?
I do have a quick question, and it's just me being the new guy.
Mhm.
I don't know, Emily, if this is for you or if this is for you, chief. Bullet point number 8 on page 33, it says investigate the feasibility and implementation of maximum speed limits throughout the town of Haymarket. What exactly is a maximum speed limit? I thought there was a speed limit, and I need to be expanded upon here.
No worries.
For that to chief.
No worries. Yes, true. That's the speed limit is the speed limit, but that is an enhanced penalty for exceeding that speed limit. So it's basically an enhancement on that, so that the fine would be much higher.
Okay.
And if everyone will entertain me, I have the answer for you, Joe. Okay, so elected officials only, how it ranks is pretty much the exact same, but let me read through it. It is, town hall site plan is number 1 at 1.5. Town park came in also at 1.5. So those are designated as priority 1 and 2 out of our work session, and then they ranked the same value. Procure a consultant to procure a consultant to conduct the update to the town's comprehensive plan came in at 7.5. collaborate with the county supervisor, council members, town manager, and partners at VDOT, et cetera, regarding traffic flow. That came in at 8. So that would be priority 4 now. Enhance cybersecurity measures within the town hall and police department came in at 8.83. So that would bump that to a ranking of number 5. Complete and expand and maintain the town streetscape came in at 9.33. That would be priority number 6. Volunteer/assistant internship to create asset inventory came in at 9.5. That's a priority 7. Town manager, police chief, and a security contractor to discuss options for phased implementation of immediate security upgrades, 9.5. So that's ranked at 8, priority 8. Investigate the feasibility and implementation on the maximum speed limit throughout the town of Haymarket, 10.5, priority 9. And then investigate a 2, 5, 10, and 20-year capital improvement plan, 11.33, priority 10. And then I will say, just chief, so you know, the Vallepsi certification came in at 11.83, so a priority status of number 11. So that's how those top ones ranked if you're only looking at the council. So it is still these 10 you see here on the page. Just some of them changed ranking order just a little bit.
Anyone else? No? Thank you, Emily.
So what my plan will be is I am going to go ahead and I'm going to work with Kim tomorrow. We're going to put the amended strategic plan draft document on our agenda for December 1st. We'll pull together. Do you guys want to see the combined priority list, or do you just want the council 1 through 10?
I would say town council opinion.
For the 1-pager to go out to the community, if this is council's priorities, do you want me to put just council's 1 through 10 on there? Again, it's roughly the same
It's the
10.
same, right?
They just changed ranking. So I can
Yeah.
pull that together, and Kim and I will put that also in the agenda. And then Monday night, I would like to spend just a quick minute, kind of really using it as an announcement to the public. Here's our amended draft document. Please take this time to look over it. And then we'll ask them to give us feedback through the month of December, come back in January.
I mean, I think he said that investigate the 2, 5, 10, 20-year capital improvement plan was number 10, right? Based on
Based on council, that comes in right at number 10.
but here combined is number 13. So there's
They do move around a little
move
bit.
around.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to your point, I mean, this was supposed to be the town council's strategies, goals, what have you, right? To me, that's what should be reflected in terms of when we're seeking input from the residents. Now, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't take into consideration staff's, right, opinion, feedback, what have you, right? But I thought maybe it was my misunderstanding when we had the meeting. I thought we were going to do 2 different surveys, one for the town council and one for the town staff, in order to allow us to know what the town staff's priorities are, right?
Yes, so how she did it is at the very beginning, the first thing that you answered is if you were elected official or a staff member.
Yeah.
I will tell you, not all of the staff members took the survey. I believe only 3 of us took it. And so I think it was Chief, myself, and Kim
Whoa.
took the survey. Yeah, I don't mind. Sorry.
Okay.
So
You snooze,
Chief
you
and I
lose.
took it, but I have the data separated out. So I mean, I can read to you how the staff's ranked out. If you want, but I don't mind just pulling together all of councils. I mean, I'm just looking for you guys to give direction. It
I
is
think
no
all of
preference to
I think all
us.
of council, I think that we're all in agreement with that.
Okay,
I
so I'll
think
pull,
that staff is a nice,
It's important. It's important
It's important,
feedback. Now we want to reach out to the public for
Yeah.
feedback. So, okay.
And then, so I'll have that one pager pulled together of the elected officials' top 10 priorities, or do you want to see top 15? What's your cutoff number that you want to?
I
10
think
is a lot.
10
10,
is
yeah.
10's going to be plenty.
You don't want to, I was going to say, you don't want to overwhelm.
Okay, so I'll do
Anybody?
top 10.
It'd be like Jay Leno.
But I think having all of that information and kind of looking at it out of 34, like that's a
Yeah, that's
lot.
okay.
That was a lot.
That's too much.
So, but, and I do appreciate everybody participating. I feel like that shows unity and wanting to collaborate, so. So you have good direction, Emily?
Yes, so I'll put that in there. It'll be more Monday night again, more of an informational item to start getting it out to our community, but nonetheless, we'll get it out there and ask for feedback.
And we can do our part as well as informing our neighbors and HOA.
Oh, we have our app too, right?
Yeah, love it, love it. All right, so our next item is the discussion on a town park tree.
Yes.
Emily.
Okay, so I've had a resident come in a couple times to town hall, and he has informed me about a tree that at least 10 years back he had donated to the town of Haymarket, and it was planted at the town park. I do not have any other details other than his story of he has planted this tree. It's a bur oak. It is a sapling off of a very large and very well-known bur oak tree that sits in front of Burris Hall at Virginia Tech. So it does serve some meaning to, I would say, Hokies, but also specifically this individual. He's an arborist and he does live in our community. He is a town resident. And he, I do believe, has received his forestry degree from Virginia Tech. And so this tree means a lot to him. He donated it to our town, to the park, for it to grow there and be something beautiful and monumental here in our park. However, of recent, he has asked to take it back. He does not feel that the town council is going to preserve the tree or take care of it. I have tried to assure him, as a fellow Hokie with a forestry degree, that we would take great pride in this tree and we would do our best to protect it as the property develops. However, he is still asking that he would like to have his tree back. I take it that with his arborist company or his means, he would come in and dig it up and remove it from site. But I am coming to council because this is a very unique request. In my time here, we have never had a request like this, and I am looking for council input to include our town attorney's input and feedback. Please note, I did just bring this up to our attorney's attention last week, so he's had a little bit of time, but not much time to think on it.
I have. Mayor and council, thank you so much. So this question, as you know, is really unusual and unorthodox. That being said, I understand his concern, I understand his request, and so we want to address it from a legal perspective. So in thinking about what a gift entails under the law, so for a gift to be a gift, you have to have the intent to give the gift. It's called donative intent. Do I really want to give this gift to you? Secondly, is the gift delivered to the people they want it to go to? And then thirdly, the gift has to be accepted as a gift. If you have those three elements and you have a gift, once you give a gift under the law, you lose dominion and control over the gift. You no longer have ownership of it because you've given it your rights to that ownership away to the donee. We, in this case, are the donee of the tree. We've had the tree for 10 years on our property. We've owned it. We've taken care of it, by all accounts. And at this point, the person who gave us the gift no longer has any right to the tree. So legally, there's no requirement for us to give it back to him at this point. Now, that being said, council has control of this property now. And if you wanted to, you could return it to him by majority vote. But you don't have to. The law says you're not required to do that. So I just want to bring that to your attention. Now, sometimes you have a conditional gift. That's where the person gives it to you, says, I'll give this to you, but you gotta do X, Y, and Z. That's a conditional gift. That's not what this is. This is unconditional. There's no strings attached to it. There's no agreement written about it. There's no guidelines for it. So we have an unconditional gift. We've had for 10 years, and it meets the definition of a gift. So I'll leave you with that.
I don't have a great picture, but I can show you.
I was just gonna say, can I see a picture?
I'm sorry, I didn't even think. Picture, but street view kind of gives you an idea of which one it is. Because I know you've all been to our park.
Yeah.
So this is where the house used to sit. You see the house there? It's not this tree, but it's the one behind it right here. So it is still pretty large in size. It's this one back
Okay.
right here. This one right here.
Okay.
So if you were to go up tonight or later, it's right here, it's in the back of the circle, but still in the green within the circle. It's this one right here.
So
So it's caliper. Caliper is probably about yay big. So the trunk size is probably 10 inches in diameter.
Mhm.
the height?
25 if I had to estimate.
Okay.
So it's large. I don't know that it would survive a move, but I am not the arborist.
Nothing was disturbed or
No, nothing.
happened when the building came down.
No, nothing has been disturbed or happened to the tree. It's in very good condition, very straight, really right now has nothing harming it, has great sunlight, etc. He is just sharing his concern that with the house coming down and uncertain future plans for the park, he did not feel confident that the town was going to take care of this donation.
Question? No.
I was gonna say, I'll let you go first, Ken.
Okay. What is the history of this tree? Was a resolution proclaimed? Was this dedicated
I
as the
cannot-
town
I will
tree? or-
keep searching. Kim and I can keep looking, but in my quick searches, I have not been able to find anything officially taking it in. We don't have a nameplate on it. We don't have a marker at the base of it. It is right now just this resident's story. I can confirm it is a bur oak. That part is true.
When did this resident reach out?
He's reached out this month. So Haymarket Day, he came in and had a discussion with me, and then he has come back once since to ask if I had an answer for him yet.
But the house has been down for almost a year now, and then he comes back.
Not sure if he came in earlier in the year, but he came in this fall.
Yeah, but 10 years is a long time to, those roots are planted deep. Okay, thank you, Em.
Joe?
So with respect to the plan where it's located, we don't even know if it's gonna be part of the plan or not,
Correct.
right? So we won't know for a while, right? Until we do some
We
design work.
won't. And, you know, one of the great things about the park and how these trees are currently set up is we can walk it with an engineer and we can flag. We have a lot of huge, beautiful trees at the park. I don't know if you've walked it, but you should. And we have the opportunity to go in and mark them and make it very clear that we want to save these trees and that it's important to save and use these existing trees that are well established. So we do have that opportunity to do that. It's hard to say if there would be any utilities or any roads, anything that would go up there. If you generally speaking were to lay the master plan and kind of look at it, it looks like this could be preserved. If you're familiar with the master plan, you have the main entry exit, a singular entry exit point, and then the road curves out and then curves up and back over. And so it seems like you could save it in that curvature of the road there. But again, it's up to council.
I feel like we would do that regardless with all of the trees there. Joe?
Try to preserve what we could.
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't even know if it's gonna be preserved or not at this
Correct.
point, and it may not be. I mean, personally, if somebody wants to come in and take a tree out and we decide we want to do it, I mean, there will be some legal ramifications, waivers, liability, all of that kind of stuff. but frankly, we don't know what we don't know yet. And if in fact it were going to be cut down, you know, if he wants to do something, I wouldn't have a problem with him. I'm kind of agnostic on the whole thing. Or perhaps, you know, get a replacement tree from the same kind of tree down in Charlottesville and buy him a nice little.
How dare you?
Sir, with all due
This is
respect, this is a
Blackbird.
Oh, this is
burr,
Blacksburg.
this is
Okay.
a burr oak. And if
Oh.
you're familiar with Virginia
Boy,
Tech,
when you speak out of turn, wow. they
if you're
turn on
familiar
real
with
quick.
Virginia Tech and the drill
Okay,
field,
all right.
us Hokies have this very idealist little picture of Burris Hall, which is our main structure down there.
Oh,
And right in
now
front
that
of
you
it,
put it that way,
if you're standing on the drill field, this bur oak is so massive. I mean, you can't even picture it. You have to see it in person. We should take a field trip. But it changes beautiful colors year round. It is a very iconic tree of Virginia Tech, and it's a sapling that he rooted and started growing from the tree. He's very big down there in that
Well,
department.
I can respect that. I think that's great. If there's a way we could preserve it.
It could be very large in our park. I think the only advice I would have from a town manager point of view is, with all due respect, if you guys do go forward with allowing him to take it, I would ask that he cover any legal fees,
Oh, we'd have no choice. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
any and all legal fees of it,
That's reasonable.
Yeah.
right?
Alexander?
So is there a record of the gift?
That's what I cannot find any record of. So I'll work with Kim. Maybe we can dig back in some meetings. I didn't want either of us really to spend a heck of a lot of time on it if council's answer was going to be no. So we have not dug very deep yet.
And 10 years
He might
ago,
have to dig deep, but you know.
10 years ago, this is probably a small tree, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes,
Just
yes.
curious how much, if one was to purchase one, right, from nursery,
Oh.
what have you, how much was it?
Oh.
Just curious.
Thousands.
Thousands?
At this size, at the
No, no, no,
size?
No.
He's
10
talking about
years
a
ago.
little.
Oh, 10 years ago?
When it was a small thing.
Maybe
Like a cutting.
50, 75, depending on the quality. I don't know how big it was when he put it in and the size of the sapling, but also speaking from a forestry side of it, like for example, in the Chick-fil-A parking lot, there's locust trees. You could go dig one up. It'll grow in your yard. In 5 years, it'll be 50 feet taller than it is today, and it was free. So I think there's a scenario where if it had a sapling and it was dug up and it was yay big, then over time, I mean, couple $50 maybe for this sapling. If you were to go buy this size of a tree now, thousands of dollars.
I just don't understand. Doesn't make sense.
New guy here. I think that giving him the ability to come dig it up is a real slippery slope. All right. I can say myself, oh, there's a really nice azalea on the side of Cupcake Heaven. I donated it 15 years ago and I want it back. I mean, there's no proof that I did, but there's no proof that I didn't either. And I think it's a real slippery slope. And I don't think we should allow it.
And we're not even at the point.
I
where
was gonna say, we're
we're
not even at
there.
the point
We have
of
no clue.
knowing what, but again, I would sit here very confidently saying that we would do anything and everything to save every bit of greenery that we could within this development. So that would be my viewpoint. Ken?
And I'll tell you what, the loss of that tree, with the growth of it and everything, you know, if we do lose it, I'd like to replace it with something equivalent. And that means, you know, if we let it go, he's going to have to cover it. That would be my opinion on it, because that is an established tree. It's something that we would consider in the design of our park and everything like that. So, you know, that's just one. I'm agnostic like Joe. I feel, you know, we can always replace it, but then it becomes, is it the onus on us to have to pay
replace it.
for it, the replacement?
That makes sense.
So have we provided any sort of direction for you?
What about this? I have an idea. I'm getting creative. What if the direction provided is that at this time, the council has no desire to have anyone remove the tree, nor do we wish for the tree to be harmed or removed. We would like to see it remain and protected if at all possible. And then we say, if there is an opportunity where the tree may be in the way of future development, we will contact you to make arrangements to have you remove the tree from the site after we've determined that it is in the way or can't be protected, something of that nature.
With costs to be.
With, yes, him incurring the cost to move and relocate the tree and any legal fees that may be required
I
at that
just wouldn't
time.
want that to be unclear.
That's reasonable.
So I'll work with our attorney there. I saw you taking good notes. And we'll get a nice letter drafted up so that I can get it to him and have an answer for him.
Just keep track of those billable hours.
And I'm sure we're gonna cover ourselves from a liability perspective, right?
If that was going. if that-
Absolutely.
if that- yeah.
And as you're talking to him, make sure he understands that for us to do this, it actually requires a vote of council. In other words, your conversation with him discussing options is not a guarantee
Mhm.
that he's gonna be able to get the tree back.
Okay.
Thank you for that note, Alon. All right, anything further on the tree? No?
No.
Okay, we're going to move on to the museum rental.
Yes, I have a very quick, it's on the topic of town property rentals. I do want to let council know we have had some interest for a couple people renting out or utilizing this town hall space here. That's in regard to holding community meetings. So I am working in partnership with the supervisor's office as they need space or are sending developers who might need space for community meetings here. You might see more of those popping up soon. That is a small FYI. Okay, on to the museum rental discussion. I have handed out a paper in front of you. So I wanted to come to council. We had spoken in previous months, early in the summer, regarding the museum space and what we would like to see there in 2026. And so at the finalization of those discussions, we had decided we wanted to see some type of pop-up rental in a shorter term agreement, and that would look like the business coming in, paying rent on the space, and then utilizing the space for their personal, well, private business, but also allowing for some public interactions to be occurring in the space. One of the very first businesses that we reached out to, Arts Van Gogh, was very interested, and in several follow-up meetings that I have had with her, we were discussing what it would look like for her to be in this space. So I was informed that Arts Van Gogh is actually currently in this space, but on a very limited capacity. Arts Van Gogh, her name is Dawn Quill, and she is the person who is hosting all of the preschool art activities or children art activities in this space. And she partners with a good friend of hers to do all of the music classes that occur there. And those have been wildly successful. I don't know the exact percentage again off the top of my head, but I believe she said they bring in 75 to 80% of the revenue for Crossroads Arts Alliance in that space. And so they do know that just based on the small, limited offerings that they've done, they're wildly successful in there. And they would like to see what that looks like continued. So with that, Dawn and I had multiple discussions, and she mentioned that it would be best if she could go ahead and sign on for a 12-month lease so that she could set a calendar, set a schedule, work with her families, clients, other people, investors who would be interested in partnering with her as a business and get it going so that they had a 1-year opportunity to see how it goes, how it's successful, but also they're not opening for 1 month and then closing and having to relocate and find places to hold these youth art classes. So with that in mind, she drew up a very quick 1-pager. She has a presentation. She will come present to the council who she is, what she does, what her goals are. But she wanted to put this in front of council when I was discussing with you tonight. If council is on board with allowing me as the town manager to go ahead and do a 12-month lease, whereas originally we had talked about a 1 to 2 to 3 month lease. So My request tonight is if council is okay with it, to proceed with a 1-year pilot with this business, recognizing that she would be paying a set rent amount per month. And this is her business. She will have a business plan. She will charge for the classes that she offers, but she has here in the very first column what she plans to do. Mainly, she works with a lot of the younger preschool age groups. She also works a lot with our homeschool community in and around Haymarket, Gainesville, Bristow area. She would like to do more community events. As her business, she hosts birthday parties for youth. That is something she would like to continue to offer in this space. And then she has asked here to do some modifications to the museum space, not major, nothing permanent, but essentially similar things that the Arts Alliance has come in and do. So putting out some rugs, putting out some soft furniture, some appropriate tables, things of that nature to support the business. So this is what they're looking at doing. I'm open to any feedback. Again, she was going to come on December 1st and give a business plan presentation and introduce herself to the council. And so I'm putting this ahead of you guys for discussion tonight on the time and the term.
Do you have a set rental amount?
$650 a month. So when I worked with staff, we pulled previous bills over the year period, not this past year, but from, we're in 25, mid 24 to mid 2025. This is a number that I was working on over the summer. And so we pulled all of our utility cost for the museum. We found what that average was per month, and then I have adjusted it a little bit. So the goal here is that the $650 would cover all of the utilities as well as the current janitor needs that we have in the space. And then we would reassess after 1 year. And I have told her that, of course, this would come up for another discussion if we proceed with 1 year to include the rent amount.
I've had the opportunity of engaging with her several times and sitting down with her. So she does have an actual business plan, which she runs it as a business. She thinks of it as a business. She also participates in our farmers market.
Yeah.
So she's done some great community service within the farmers market.
Free crafts.
Yes.
So if anybody's been, she's usually over here beside our coffee vendor. And I think she comes out about once a month. And everything she does is a free craft for the youth, and they come up and get to do something that they then take home with them. I will say Dawn has a pretty impressive background. She partnered and worked with a lot of government contracts with the Smithsonian and did a lot of their art programming, especially through COVID. And so I look forward to everybody being able to hear directly from her and everything that she's done in and around this area for youth in the community.
Anybody have any questions? Ken?
Yep.
Yeah, so I heard business plan a few times. So
Mhm.
since we're pretty much going to be subsidizing it, will we have will we be able to see that business plan, or are we just getting a summarization in the presentation that she gives us?
What do you mean by we're subsidizing it? Just because the rent would be so low?
Yeah, I mean,
You want to speak on that?
You can. You are going to see the business plan that will be
Okay.
presented.
right.
Just to be clear for everyone in public, the town will not be subsidizing. In fact, it's town, so there's no real estate on it, anything, it's exempt. And from the data that we collected, her rent will actually cover for the water and electricity. And that's the reason why I think the TM is only doing a 1 year pilot program, and then we'll revisit. And I think the understanding is she understands that too. We'll do a 1 year thing. And if it looks like that is not going to offset, then we'll have that discussion. But we're not subsidizing it per the data that we've collected for the past 2 years on that.
We would still be operating it with the idea and the vision of trying to get somebody in the space on a more standard basis, having it open to the public more frequently than if we as town staff tried to open it up. We're very limited on what we're able to do, to include limited on being able to put together historic exhibits and have people open it up on the weekends and have docents in the space. We can try and outreach on volunteers again, but it is pretty hard to get some of those volunteers to come in, especially on the weekends, and dedicate the public hours that are really ideal for visiting those types of spaces. So the reason we're looking at just trying to start by covering our utilities is so that we can see, is it a successful program? Is this something that is beneficial to our museum and our community? And figure out what that right fit is.
Alexander?
So this is a 12-month lease. So they're going to have use of the space 365 days a year.
That's correct.
So there will not be a use of the space as a museum.
No, so we still have been talking with her regarding having museum space, having historic displays put up. She's still going to be opening it to the public for every farmer's market. So it is open, it's a walk-in, come visit it during the farmer's market hours. We also have already spoken on during all of our community events. It's open as a town museum. So Haymarket Day, holiday event that we host. We also do the summer historic walking tour. So all of those would still be locked in as our space to utilize and operate.
And then I see that the projected annual revenue is 60 to 80K.
That is for her business.
for her
That is not
business.
for the town of Haymarket. That's her business financial snapshot.
Yes, for using the
Mhm.
space. That's the revenue she's going to be generating with the use of the space, right?
That's what she's projecting.
Yeah. But that she's only going to pay the town $7,800 out of that amount of revenue. And plus we're going to be covering the utilities, right? So I don't know if
So
that's-
her rent would cover the utility fee.
Yeah, what I'm saying is in comparison to our normal leases for other spaces,
Mhm.
right? The tenants pay the lease and then on top of that, they pay for the utilities, right? Correct?
Some of the spaces do, some of the spaces have utilities included in them, such as this building.
All right. So I'm not sure if it's just curious when, I'm sure there's been a time when that space has never been occupied, has never been used, right?
Yeah, when I first started here, I know that one of our staff members, Denise, was working very hard to get it open, have historic displays in there, but it was very limited hours that it was able to be open to the public. Shortly after I joined the team here, positions changed and we did not have the staff load ever since July 1 of 2018. We have not had anyone dedicated to run that museum or set up any of the historic displays. So we've been very limited on what we can do as a staff.
So when it was unoccupied, right? Do we have an idea how much we were spending on utilities as opposed to when it's occupied by Arts Alliance or?
So I would say how rarely they're in there, that our utility average is pretty much, it was right around what, 350? It's about 350 when nobody's in the space.
Okay, so here there is a potential based on how much they use the space for the utilities to go up, right?
Certainly. The average, the year we pulled the average for, included them being in the space, having the events going on. It also included our maintenance person pulling water off of that space to water all of our flower baskets. So water bills were a good bit higher in the summer months. So if we go into a full rental of the space, of course, we would have him not do that. So we have an accurate picture of how that's going.
I don't know. I don't know if it makes sense to me. Right.
Well, I would certainly be willing to listen to her business plan if she came and did a presentation, right? I mean, that's, goes without saying. Looking at this, so I think this is a distillation or a synopsis of her business plan itself.
A one pager of it.
Right. So what we will do, that's her, right?
Yes.
So we're talking a year-round preschool, after-school, weekend workshops, birthday parties, and community events. So one of my questions, and I think maybe
It's inferred perhaps with the foot traffic. I would say it was a lot more traffic. What are we going to do about parking? Are there going to be limitations in the number of people? Is there going to be drop off? Because, we've had issues in the past with the, with some of the schools, with the traffic and what have you. So, I think that's something that has to kind of be thought through a little bit. How do we handle all of that? Because we're already having a lot of traffic in the middle of town. So will that be an issue? Is there going to be sufficient parking or people not staying there?
The
All those
way-
types of questions I have about the traffic and transit stuff.
Yep, and great questions for her. The way her and I have discussed it, it's going to continue to operate how the current preschool classes operate. So we currently, every month, they've been doing several classes there. They do it in the morning after all the other schools have started. It's like a 9 a.m. timeframe, maybe 10 a.m. They have a small gathering of tots and their moms, kind of a mommy and me style music classes, as well as the art classes. Her after school is geared towards the youth who enjoy the arts and don't really have that club or that opportunity to connect in a high school or middle school setting. So those would be more of drop-offs, and cars would not be there for parents hanging around. Same thing with the weekend workshops. I do see that, birthday parties, parents would maybe hang around a little bit more. And then another push that she would probably have more vehicle traffic is when they have the mobile homeschooling programs, where she's inviting in the homeschool community, and parents would come with those children to learn and be in the space.
For me, I would be a little concerned about the impacts on our 55, on Washington Street, and what time of day they operate and things like that. So I think she would need to flesh that out a little bit better, so we have
Okay.
an understanding of what the potential consequences are.
I think a conversation of how many students are allowed in each class, because it's not a huge building, right? So she does have a limited capacity, and I'm sure she's thought through, her as a single teacher, how many kids can you adequately teach? I don't think I would see it as a major traffic impact to Route 55, as much as I would just say there might be a need for some overflow parking for a couple vehicles, depending on the type of activity.
Yeah, so where would that go?
I would say it would come to town hall's parking lot.
Parking here and then walk across the street.
Mhm.
All right. All right. Well, I would certainly listen to a presentation for sure. The question I have about the building itself, and I get the concept because we've debated this for a long time. It's been empty. It's sat empty for a long time, and we wanted to get somebody in there so we have some usage. They can keep an eye on things for us and report if there's a problem. So the idea, the 650 is essentially like a break even.
Yes.
We consider that a break even. And so what do we have to provide in addition to what's already there? Do we have any investment necessary for the building to prepare it for her to do what she needs to do? Or is she going to provide all of the material, the furniture and things of that nature?
She would provide all of the material, furniture, any incidentals for her business. We have a very small maintenance list that we need to address from our fire marshal inspection as well as our structural engineer inspection, but it was all very minor. Something, for example, like this exit sign you see here above your head, we have to fix one of those. So it's very minor things we're having to do anyway in the space.
Yeah, that's one of the things I think we talked about in the past was occupancy.
Yes, and so that's what we were working with on the fire marshal, making sure everything is up to snuff and good to go on code.
And then as a business, she would hold liability insurance. And all
Yes,
that.
so she would provide her own liability insurances. She would be signing a lease agreement with us. We had discussed if she is in there for a 1 or 12-month period, we would have her provide her own internet services. But if we're looking at doing pop-ups in the spaces, then the town would probably need to provide an internet service and wrap that into the rental fee as well. But that's for the more short term.
I still have one more question.
One more question.
Yeah. So this might be for our counselor too, but I know we've updated our lease agreements and termination clauses and what have you. So we would make sure if there were some issues, we'd have those options. Yes. Okay. Right.
I'm gonna do Justin first and then you.
No worries. Go ahead. Real quick, so this is gonna happen in about 2 months? We're looking in February?
So the reason it's February right now is because Crossroads Arts Alliance's last day in operation in this space is December 31. Based on the new year and then a long weekend in January, we have asked them to be out of this space. Let me pull up the date for you.
17th of January.
Yes, January 17th is their last date that they need to fully be out. So that's taking down their gallery and their show after the month of December, and then cleaning up the space, having it ready to turn over and do a walkthrough of the space. So they're out the 17th, and then I've asked that we need 2 weeks to ensure that we have everything we need taken care of, completed, and then we would be ready come February 1.
Okay. I think it's a great idea. There's no one in the space. We can use the space, but I think there's just some definite things we've got to like conquer down, like the occupant load of how many people can really fit in that building for the fire marshal. You know, if we could have her give us some kind of eligible hours, like what time it's going to be open. Is it, a 9 to 3, a 9 to 5? Is it going to be a break because there's the toddlers coming in and then the young kids? I think that would be helpful. And then also with St. Michael's being right there, what time does their school do drop off? Would that be interference with this school? Because I know it's only separated by the hotel parking lot.
And I just want to clarify, she's not running it as a school.
Yeah.
She's running it as
An
like art classes that
Yeah.
you sign up for. So just want to clarify that.
For sure, but that's still going to have some kind of traffic impact if a parent's going to have a 9 a.m. class, but St. Michael's is, doing drop off at 9 a.m. So I think it would just be nice to coordinate those two just to have some kind of, so there's no kind of impact. And then if for the parking situation, is there any way that Hilton would let her use that park? No.
No.
They charge for parking.
Hey.
No way they would let anybody get.
If you don't ask, you don't get a no. Yeah, so mostly the hours, how many people can really be in there, St. Michael's. But no, I think it's a great idea if no one's in there and she can use it and grow it. Why not? Give her the opportunity. That's it.
Alexander?
And again, I think we have established that this is a business, right? Not a nonprofit or community
Correct.
service, what have you. I'm just having a hard time accepting that we're gonna allow a business to use a space, right? Basically for free, right? That's what it amounts to. It just doesn't make sense to me. It is, but it's empty though, too. You gotta keep it empty.
So I think what I
Yeah,
would ask council, I.
One more thing.
Okay.
All right, what I would like to, in addition to paying, again, maybe this minimum monthly lease amount, at least I would like to see them cover utilities in addition to this low lease amount, right? Maybe a certain percentage of the utilities, considering that we're gonna be using the space for various events based on the percentage of the time that they use the space. Okay. Right, and again, I mean, there's gonna be wear and tear on this building, right? We're not even taking into consideration. We're just gonna allow them to use the space for free for business? Yeah. I mean, I think
So-
kind of just to get just to put it out there and say, hey, it's an open space and bring the youth and the tots in here. I think it would be great to have some foot traffic go by there. It's empty building. We're not really getting any use from it. Yeah, I understand.
I think what I would
Ways
ask
we can be
council,
creative with that too, like a step system or.
Right, I
There's
think-
ways that we can break that down.
I think what I would ask council is all of this aside. Do you want the museum to function as a museum? Because if you do, I think this coming budget season, let's put this aside and let's talk about the part-time staff member it would take to run it as a museum, and let's try running it as a museum. If that's a concern, because if we want to maintain it as a museum structure, develop a museum plan, celebrate our historic community, then let's try it. We've not tried it in over 8 years. So, you know, what I was saying is we don't have staff time and workload isn't there to do it with who we have in here today. So I can pull together numbers. I can put it in front of you guys of let's hire a part-time person to run that museum space and let's see how our community likes it. I think with that concept in place, to have that successful, functional, you're still going to have to offer activities and events in the space. And so I think then maybe you do partner with somebody like Arts Van Gogh and you say, will you come in X number of times a month and teach an art class that's geared around the history of the town of Haymarket? And that's what she's willing to do right now. And she's looking to run it as a private business so that she can make a profit at doing something of putting arts in the community and still utilizing the museum space, having it open, having it accessible, something we can advertise. But I do hear what you're saying of it's being utilized as a free space, essentially. If you don't want to see it run as a museum, then is it time that the council has a discussion of fully leasing it out and fully letting it go as a leased building? And if that's the case, then we need to realize that means we're not doing our events out of it. And if we're fully leasing it out and we're not, to use Ken's word, subsidizing the rent, then we're going to lose control of putting up a museum historic display, holding our walking tour starting out of that building, being able to welcome people in there for those kickoff events or for Haymarket Day. So I think it kind of just comes back to council of what do you envision it being, a museum or a fully rented out space, or are we finding a happy medium?
What's the square footage of the building?
It's roughly 1,500 square feet for the first and second floor. So divide that in half, it's roughly 750.
And with the stairs, it's
About
really only the
$16
main
a
level that,
Only the main
Yeah,
level. We have
so-
too much storage of our historic artifacts and.
so you're looking at roughly 750.
750
700.
usable.
Usable
700
usable
usable
space. Okay, so I'd like to keep that in mind as well.
Putting it another way, I think, what is that, around $16 or $17 a square foot? Something like that.
When we did the math and finance the other day,
I can't remember.
didn't it come out to 10-ish?
Oh, was it much? No, that's even
I
lower.
think it was much lower.
Okay.
I just wanted to, I hear the concerns. But I just like to remind council right now to Councilman Lurson, currently we are subsidizing with this Art Alliance because I think we've only collected 1,400 in FY 2025 without a set, with that agreement. It's a pilot, obviously it didn't work. I think we're moving away from that. I think this having an established actual lease, making it a pilot, I believe the understanding is, and you guys can speak with her on this, but why not try as a pilot? The reason why as your treasurer, I'm supporting this with the TM is because it is going back to our strategic planning, community engagement, community, giving back to the community, because the program sounds to me it's going to be a very family-oriented, kid-oriented, which is something the town does need it as well. Had it been another business, and yes, I feel like it'd be a different conversation, but because this has to do with kids and giving back to the community, why not do a pilot program? And, that's the only thing, maybe consider that. And I think the understanding with her is that, we'll revisit this in a year, but that's just my thought on it. Considering we did have a program now that we were subsidizing, to use Councilman Larson's questions, concern.
One of your strategic initiatives, you've not officially adopted it yet, but it is partner with businesses to encourage art in the community.
Right.
I know right now it only ranks at number 30, and that could be called a low-hanging fruit, but
It's low-hanging fruit.
it is. But keep that in mind. You also have develop a museum plan as number 23 in this packet. So it's up to council. I think that either way, we're going to see some costs. I think that the $7,800 this would bring in annually is more than we've seen in that structure in over 8 years. I don't know that we've ever seen that much money come in at that site. You're going to expend far more than that if we have to bring in a part-time person to run the space. And then how do we make a profit, or how do we offset that expenditure then, is kind of what I would ask back to council.
And it presents with a collaborative relationship. Whereas in a full lease, you're not going to get a collaborative relationship.
Yeah, I will say one of the fun things about Dawn is she wants to learn more history about the town, and she wants to ask council members, if you guys are up for it, to come in and speak to the homeschool groups, or, you know, the little preschoolers who come in there, and try to educate the community on the history, not only of the space, but of our town. So I think there's a lot of partnership opportunities.
Good opening for getting youth involved in government, I'd say.
Mhm.
Justin, did you have another question?
Yes, and I know this is gonna put more work on you, and I'm sorry. If you could run the numbers of what a part-time person would be, just so we can see what it would look like.
Mhm.
But then,
And if council is okay with it, I might actually ask Dawn some of that information. The
Yeah.
reason I say that is because she has worked a lot of contracts with, I know we're not the Smithsonian, but she has worked a lot of contracts with museums down in DC, and she might have some insight as to what those types of staffing positions would look like.
but I would also kind of recommend that if we do hire a part-time, that we would have to have some kind of council persons or people help out with that museum to kind of keep it going.
Yeah, we would definitely
Right.
need to establish a strong volunteer basis
Yeah.
for that structure, because it's very hard, and we recognize this with our event position. It was very hard to attract a part-time event coordinator to come and staff all of the farmers markets events and the other weekend events, and then do limited hours during the week. So it is sometimes an uphill battle to find the right fit in
Right.
those positions.
But everybody on the dais is able to donate time if it becomes a museum.
Well,
I was gonna
One-
say-
one-
Wait.
Ken, I'm not speaking for anybody,
Yeah,
but
one
Ken-
quick
Ken-
question for you though, Justin.
Yeah.
With this part-time help that you want to get a figure for, what skill sets are you looking for? Are you looking for someone like a docent, or are you just looking for somebody to keep this building open?
It's whatever you guys are looking for a part-time.
So
Because to get
Part-
a
versa-
price tag on a part-time person, it all depends on what skill sets you're looking
Right.
for. So
I'll pull some comparables of if the person, for example, had a degree and had knowledge on pulling together these historic displays and that stuff versus a staff member who is just opening the space and
Yeah.
running the space. Because then you're looking more at that, I don't want to say minimum wage, but you're looking at that lower end. They're there, they're opening it, they're talking with people, they're having good customer service skills, but they're not necessarily highly trained in doing the research to make a display and come up with that information.
Yeah.
Alexander, and then you, Dave. And
So
then Joe,
Emily,
you.
is the space currently being used
Fingers.
as a museum? Are we
So,
using it as a museum at all?
In the Crossroads Arts Alliance discussions and agreement, we have it so that the town has a corner, 25% of it is able to be put up as museum display. So we do currently have a historic display that's up. William Skinker, founder of the town of Haymarket, is hanging there on the wall. And then we have some of the original maps. And then in the display case, we have a lot of the artifacts of when it was a public schoolhouse.
And how often do we open it to the public?
So with Crossroads Arts Alliance, we had partnered with them that when they were open to the public, that was that public service hour. They were open, they were allowing people to come in and check everything out. And what has happened is they are not open nearly as much as they stated they would be.
Okay, so basically
So rarely.
rarely. So it's not being used as a museum.
No,
Right.
unfortunately, it is not. It's underutilized asset.
Yeah, new guy.
I don't want Joe's hand to get
Get
any more
tired.
tired than it is. I like the idea of going into a partnership with them. I think we have to get the numbers figured out and terms on the lease, I mean, is a 1 year, I love the fact of a 1 year, it's a steady income coming in from it. Not sure I'm a fan of just break even on it, at least cover the costs of what we have to do from a work perspective to get it ready for them. But even the terms on the lease, can we work into more of a partnership with them to help keep that place open on the days that we need it open for the museum?
Joe?
So I think we're at a point where we have no plan. We have no plan for the museum. And this might be an opportunity the next year to develop a plan for the long term. And entering into a partnership might be the vehicle by which we're able to do that and cover our costs. Now, I agree, in being a finance person, that I would like to see better income without question. And in some ways, this is a quid pro quo. The benefits, I can see the benefits, I can see the potential pitfalls. But if we can cover our costs for something that would be empty anyway for a period of time, I think that would be helpful for us on our budget. And, it does address some of the concerns about our strategic business plan, engaging community development and the arts and what have you. So there's a benefit there. But I think overall, the plan itself has to be developed for the long term. And, a 1 year lease as a pilot, I mean, we've done that before. I mean, we did that with DMV. That didn't work out, we made a change. We had a pilot with the Alliance themselves. That didn't work out to our satisfaction, or theirs, I gather, and we moved on. So this is somewhat limited. It's not going to be forever. This is something we can do over the next 12 months, and we can assess it going forward, as long as we have the safeguards in the lease itself that protects us, right? That they have their own insurance and those types of things that, we're not going to have the liability to deal with. They will, and that they will cover our costs. And I think you make a good point. I can't remember who said it, but you might have, about the utilities. If we could also include the cost of the utilities, because that's pretty hefty. And we don't know where that's going. If anything, it might be going higher. So that could be something that we might want to explore as we discuss it with her. But I certainly have no problem meeting with her next week and hearing what she has to offer. And, I'll wait for Roberto to finish, but
You say you do the full utilities.
well, I'd like to see, I think Dave, our new council member, Mr. Capicella, made a very good point about looking and understanding the numbers a little bit better, so we know exactly what we're getting into. I think that would be very helpful, and that may allay some fears, right, of folks. But I certainly don't want to see that building empty again. I mean, it was empty for a while, and it is a draw. Let's be honest, it is a draw. It's bringing people into the town. I get that. There's a somewhat of a multiplier effect, for lack of a better term, in doing that. So I'm willing to listen, and I'm not going to make a commitment tonight, but I certainly would be willing to listen to what she has to offer, and let's see what the numbers shake out as. And then it becomes a debate whether we want to, rent it out for whatever the value is, or rent it out to keep it going until we have a plan in place, which I don't think you're going to get a plan in place for the next couple of months. It's going to take you guys a while to figure that out. And then we'll have to make a
other
decision.
priorities.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
we've got other priorities that are
But
ahead of.
that's my thought.
Okay.
Yeah,
Alex?
I mean, if the majority of the town council here is comfortable with moving forward with such partnership, fine, right? But when we're thinking about costs, right, let's take into consideration utilities. I don't think you can quantify wear and tear, right? But also maintenance, right? At least they should cover maintenance. Most likely, when it comes to HVAC, what have you, based on the high utilization or usage of the space, is probably going to require more maintenance than normal, right? So let's take all of these things into consideration. But again, I would like to be a person who's offered the use of space basically for almost nothing and makes 60 to 80K per year, right? That's just a on giving on a silver platter, right? But anyways, right?
That's just one part of the business costs, right? So we don't know all of them.
So
Yes.
Ken has it. Yeah, Ken.
Well, my closing remarks is, if it is a partnership, with the restrictions that we're placing on them, we do got to take that into consideration on the rental fees, right? So, that's what we need to negotiate here is what do we feel is an appropriate rental fee when we're requiring them to stay open during our events?
Yep.
When we're requiring them to alleviate 25% of the space so
Right.
that we can have our displays in there. Where we're requiring them to keep it open during certain hours. That's all part of the lease agreement, right?
Let's make it equitable, both for them as well as for us.
Right, and that's what, it's all a negotiation point, right? How much money they feel that they need to make to be able to be a profitable business without restricting them with what we're requiring on them.
yeah.
So she's going to be here
So-
Monday.
Well, yes, but you guys have a big agenda Monday night. And I think that just how long this conversation just went, I don't think that Monday night is the right setting for this to continue and to have a productive, fruitful conversation. We had discussed if we were going to hold a December work session. So I was going to ask you guys, do you want to hold the December work session on December 15th or on the 18th and have her come at that meeting to discuss? I just know that Monday night's agenda is already pretty long and I don't think you guys want to be here till midnight.
What date did you say, the 15th or 18th?
Let's look at the.
15th, I think, tight on you guys
I'm not here.
with the 13th
Bizarre.
seasonal
Yeah, with
event.
the-
I mean, if we got to get,
Julia's
if we
got
got to get
that
an
event
agenda
going.
out in a
Julia's
week's
got-
time.
Julius.
Julia's got that. I mean,
Got
we
it?
would, Kim and I would put the agenda out on the 10th.
So you're thinking Monday, the 15th?
Or the 18th, which is
or
a
the
Thursday.
18th Thursday.
We have ARB is going to be meeting, will be meeting on the 17th of December. So we can't do that night. Tuesday, the 16th is open, but for some reason I thought somebody couldn't do that. PC's the 9th.
Yeah, okay. I'm game.
There might be a HOA in here on the 16th. That might be what it is.
I'm available.
On both days, or do you have a preference?
Yeah. I prefer the 18th, but
The 18th?
I'd be able to do the 15th.
I like the 18th too.
You like the 18th?
Do you guys like the 18th?
That's a Thursday evening.
That would work for us. I think that would allow us to not have to rush this conversation and not everybody be kind of tired by the time it were to come up Monday night.
Okay. So the 18th at 7?
Do you
18th
guys
at
want to do
6?
6?
6
No.
o'clock?
It works.
Yeah,
7 for me.
7 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay, 7.
6:30?
Right.
No, 7? Okay,
7.
hard 7.
Sorry.
The new guy says hard 7.
Yeah. Accommodate the
Okay.
new guy.
Kim will make sure to send out a meeting invite for that one so we don't forget it in the agenda. And then I'll reach out to Dawn and let her know the conversation, some questions we have, and then work with her to schedule that for the 18th.
Perfect.
So 18th.
18th at 7. All right. Is there anything else anybody would like to discuss?
There's one more item.
Oh, the planning commission. I had checked that already.
There you go.
Kim?
Okay, last page of the agenda, page 37 is your only application for the planning commission vacancy. She will be here next Monday for you to ask questions.
And we could appoint on Monday. if we
You can
wanted to.
appoint.
Okay.
Can I ask,
Yes.
Kim? So if we fill that position, we're good on the PC?
Correct.
Okay, well, that's nice. And we still have,
Mr. Jeff Kress is now the ARB liaison.
so we're good?
So nope, still have one vacancy
have
on
one.
ARB
All right, and then BZA too.
and BZA. Mhm. Yes, sir.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Alexander.
Okay.
Happy